allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Amy.
Bryce Steiner,
Here.
Jason Franks,
Here.
Steve Jordan,
Yeah.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes, here.
Dean Reister,
Here.
and Brian Smith.
Here.
Any questions or comments on the meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.
Any questions on the financials?
I don't have
My paper clip fell off.
When do we get that 130,000 or whatever that was voted on last meeting? Is that something?
Okay, so 76,000 of it is already in there from last year. We got it in June or July of last year. And we will get the additional half of that we didn't get, which is like 77,000, 76,000, this year, the same month, June or July.
Okay.
They start distributing in May, but we weren't on the May list, so we'll get it in June or July.
Okay.
Any questions on financials besides that?
Okay. No, I don't have that. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Who said that?
Steve.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Okay, our visitors, Gabe.
Okay, thanks, Jen. So I just was real brief on the zoning changes for B1. We had our required public hearing on April 27th that you guys had scheduled, and we did have participation. We had two local businesses. One was Sean Dooley from the funeral home, and the other was Bryce Steiner, who, and both of them own property in the area that were on the list. And those two business owners asked that the zoning on their properties remain the same. So I did make made changes on the map, and I got and also on the list. And so I have that revised list and the revised map to include in the ordinance for you guys to vote on.
So is this Exhibit A and B?
Right, Exhibit A, I think, was the map.
Okay.
And then,
So we didn't get Exhibit A.
okay. Well,
I didn't anyway.
so this is,
I think Gabe brought it. I posted it, right? I saw you carrying it, right?
the big map?
Yeah.
No, we haven't redone that map, and I
Oh.
won't pay to have that redone until you guys decide what the final would be.
I
There
was
is-
not given that, so I did not make copies for you because I didn't have it.
Right, and I can, so my draftsman has been, or the person that does the drafting for us has been going through some medical issues, so it was like a last minute thing to get these done. So they're hot off the press, even though the changes we knew what needed to be done, but I can make copies for everyone if that's, it wouldn't take.
Well, we did get that sheet that
This
says the
sheet is
same thing.
included,
The other one's
yeah.
just the visual.
Correct, this space, right,
Yep.
so,
That'll get attached to the ordinance, that map.
yeah, I'm not sure who to give this to.
This is his chair.
I'm leaving it
Okay.
out. Yeah. And you have the list in there too.
I have that, I just didn't have this.
You might not need the bottom sheet of this stuff. Just to be, you know, leave it in your plan. So,
Whoever wants a copy, you can stay after and I'll get you a copy.
if you have any questions concerning that, it's.
You know, we only had the two people come, and
Right, and Dooley's actually already applied for a zoning permit to add on to the front of his building, which if we, on that, particular one, that would, he's allowed to have it, the front setback, closer to the street than if we changed it to B2, so as soon as we changed it, it would have been,
right,
it all worked out though.
yeah, it worked
We're not, Dooley's gonna be able to add on the way they'd like to, and then,
You had what?
the
three
newspaper will be
properties?
all, both of their
Yeah.
properties will be.
Yeah, because I had
the
3
same.
parcels and 2 of them were gonna be going one way and 1 staying, and it was probably just best to leave all 3 of them
He
the
felt,
same
yeah.
instead of split it off.
And that was, that lot that was in the center of that block. And we discussed it during the planning and zoning commission, meetings. You know, it could have gone either way.
Just as long as they were all the same.
So he made
And
up
so,
his
but
mind.
and that's what the public hearing's for, and I feel like the process works, and so.
Okay, thank you.
You good, Jan? Okay. If you don't need me, I'm gonna bust out of here and go.
I think we're good.
All right.
Thanks, Gabe.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Dustin, Maria,
Okay, last council meeting, I learned that there were some questions that Bryce had asked to be answered, so I had kind of gone ahead and threw together a bunch of information to try to answer all these questions the best that we could. So if everybody could take one of those and pass it around. While those are going around, I guess I want to thank you guys for having me back in here. We really appreciate the cooperation that the village is having with the splash pad and ACDC. You know, like I said the last time, the support from the town has just been amazing. We're moving right along. But there was some things at the last meeting that kind of personally caught me off guard, and that I was kind of offended. I guess not really offended by, but just it rubbed me the wrong way. And it was more so that Councilman Steiner, that you're an elected official, and you know, I would expect that you have a little more respect for others in the community. Your actions towards certain individuals in last month's meeting were far from a professional standpoint. Granted, you are entitled to your opinion and right to free speech. You know, you also said that you had questions at the last meeting. Did you ever try to contact Maria or myself?
No, I did not.
Okay, I just was curious.
I
I mean, our names are out there, our phone numbers are out there to contact.
No, I was only contacting, I was only based upon what was given to us in the
Okay.
ordinance.
Okay,
And
gotcha. Nope,
Yeah.
that's fine. So yeah, so pretty much a lot of there was 4 questions that he asked for us to answer, and a good majority of them were answered in previous council last year before the new members had joined on board. The biggest one was the location of the splash pad. That was brought up in September of 2021 when we first came to the first meeting with the phases, location, everything was okayed at that point in time. The actual location is going to be in Riverside Park once okayed by all you fine folks. And I've taken pictures with notes on there of roughly where the splash pad will go. Just general overview of where that's going to be at. So the center of the splash pad is going to be 88 feet from the Veterans Memorial off the American flag. It'll be 88 feet to the north. And then off of Island Street, it's going to be 82 feet to the east. That would be dead center point. From there, the inner circle is a 46-foot diameter. That will be your spray zone. That's the wet area. After that, you have an additional 5 feet, and then after that, you have another additional 5 feet that they just added last year. I believe it's due to the ADA compliance, things of that nature. So that is the exact location for the splash pad. We do have updated drawings here from Backraft, the engineering company that we are working with, and that's also in the pamphlet there. His information is Greg Backraft. They're out of Ottawa, Ohio. They're the ones that are giving us these drawings. We entered into a contract with them on February 23rd that they will provide a site plan, which is being passed around now. They're all the same copies. It's just different resolutions in size.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we were looking for last
Correct,
month.
correct. Site plan application, and then the plans that they will submit to Vortex to get us our final drawings for installation, so we can go on out and get bids, quotes, everything like that for installation. That number for us will not exceed $6,000. That is our top cap for the services that he will provide for us. So those were the first two questions of the location and who we were using for an engineering firm. The second question, as far as the phases go, it's on page 2, I believe, or there's 2 different copies in there, both same thing. Phase 1 was completed on March 15th of 2022 with the village removing the 4 pine trees along Island Street. We did the soil sample, topo survey. We installed the additional parking spaces along Island Street, fixed the drainage. That was donated by Ben Cowser, donated all his work and time on that project. We also started working with the engineer Backraft for plans to submit to Vortex. Phase 2, which we are currently in right now, we are working on submitting the deposit to Vortex, trying to finalize that up. We received that number just the other day, and the new updated number is $206,000. The whole part of trying to get the approval is from a year ago, we've gone up $27,000 in cost. It's only going to continue to skyrocket. Last year, even though that number, we weren't ready. We didn't have state funding, so it is what it is. But to help us further along, this is where we need your assistance in the finalization to give us the access so we can cap that number off right now. That number is only good until the end of June. After June, they will recalculate it again to whatever steel prices are going to be.
Is that the total cost?
That is for all the features, the dome pack, the pumps, the water tank, delivery. That is not installation.
Where are you at? What page?
Page 2.
Still on 2?
Yes. Phase 2, page 2.
Did you give a dollar amount though?
I did not on there. I did not.
All right.
I have a copy of it though, Amy. I can.
I just wanted it for my
Okay.
minutes.
Okay. I can give you the exact. Maybe. There's 206,515.
Perfect. Thank you.
And that's even with us applying for the MPP.gov, like a grant type deal thing. Maria worked on that and applied for that, and we received 9,900 discount off. So it would have been even more without our discount through the MPP. So yeah, right now back to phase 2. We're working on that. Next step, is going to be the bids for installation, finalize information. Backraft will also be taking care of the submittal to the state health department and securing all those permits and everything that we will need from them to proceed so that we are compliant with everything in that area. The excavation for the electrical, water lines, sewer, concrete, we'll be installing the features, recirculation system, final concrete work for the pad. Anticipated is fall of 2022. If everything goes right, we hear back from the state as soon as we can. You guys approve it. That is a very good tentative date, weather permitted, if it stops raining anytime soon. So phase 3, finalization of everything. The completion of the arch, installed benches, trash cans, picnic tables, landscaping, final grading around the area, replant grass, and ready to open up spring 2023. Phase 2 and Phase 3 are subject to change, due to weather and any other foreseen circumstance. Back orders, national back orders of parts, pumps, things of that nature. Those two are subject to change at any point. The third thing was soil sample testing. That is in there, a copy of that report. That was done by Materials Inspection and Testing out of Fort Wayne. Yep, that right there, Bryce. That's pretty much just tells you how much topsoil, how much clay, things of that nature. They do a compaction test rating off of that. Everything checked out well and fine. Everything looked good on that part. As far as maintenance and who is going to be taking care of it. Brian, you can jump in at any time if you want on this one a little bit.
Well, I mean,
On the Curtis part and
yeah, we talked the other day and stuff. I'm looking at what it will take in order to get Curtis and Chris licensed. I did some looking on the internet at one of the state sites. It looks like it's a 2-day class, and I don't know if it's in person or not, but I'll follow up on that. But we've already committed last year that our guys will get licensed for that, so that they can, when it eventually transfers to us, we can maintain the operational side of it and maintenance on it. It doesn't have a lot of moving parts that require a lot of maintenance.
no, yeah. So pretty much the daily maintenance is 20 minutes or less. Pretty much what they'll be doing is checking the filter. Pretty much it's just pool above or in ground. Pretty much checking the filter, checking chemical levels. It has 50-gallon holding tanks for muriatic acid and chlorine, liquid chlorine. So they'll be checking that, making sure there's no debris on top of the pad, and on their way. So 15-20 minutes, they're in and out the door. Once the pad is complete, Vortex will come in and give a tutorial how to operate it, how to close it out, how to open it. I think it does not exceed 12 hours. So they will come down, and those two or whoever you guys choose will get a tutorial on the actual operation and small light maintenance on it. So the rough operating hours, what I was thinking of possibly, calling around, talking to others, they go from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Some open sooner. I think Defiance opened up maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So that's about a 100-day period. So all the costs in there on page 3, starting with the electrical, are based off a 100-day period. So this pad is going to consist of 2 pumps. It's going to have a filter pump and it's going to have a feature pump. Filter pump is just like your pool pump. It'll run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The feature pump will only run when a child or an adult hits the activation button. Once that button is activated, it has a 15-minute runtime or however long it is set for the features to run. Could be 15, 20, 30, whatever you guys feel that is the correct time. I think the average, they said, is about 15 minutes. It goes through its loop and restarts with the button pushed. So I calculated it as 12-hour day runtime for the feature pump. Realistically, will it ever run 12 hours a day straight? No, it probably will not. Honestly, you're looking more so, if I had to guess, the 6 to 8 hour top on the hottest day, and probably an average of 5 to 6, maybe.
Are these motion censored?
No,
They
so
turn
there's a on this sheet right here. So on this one right here, where this child is standing at right there, is the activation switch. So unless that button is triggered, the pad will not run.
Okay.
And hours-wise, most of the other villages I've seen are starting at about 11 a.m. Sun's starting to come up, starting to get warmer. No sense to have it running before that. It will not activate until 11. So if you said you want it to come on at 11:05, kid hits the button, it'll work. 11 o'clock will not work.
So does it then say run for 15 minutes?
Correct.
If nobody presses it?
Or whatever.
No. Only if that button is pressed will it run.
So they have to hold it down.
No. You push it one time. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry. You push the button one time. It runs for 15 minutes,
Yeah,
shuts
okay.
off.
Yeah.
And then I thought you meant is it motion activated out on the thing?
Yeah, that was my first one.
Yeah, no. It's the kid hits the button, 15-minute run time. Go run around, play through it. After 15 minutes, it shuts off. Then somebody else hits the button again every 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So, so I went ahead and calculated all the numbers. Just for those two pumps, without the tax, you're looking for that 100-day period, $446 in electric cost. That's going off of AEP's. That was Maria's cent or kilowatt per hour charge of, I think it was 0.053 is what the number was that I went off just to get that. And again, that's off a 12-hour runtime just for the feature pump. The filter pump, that number I would have to say is pretty darn close to what electrical wise that you're going to see. So you're looking at 446 just for the electric. Chemical cost wise, like I had mentioned, 50-gallon tank for each muriatic acid and chlorine. I spoke with several other splash pads, one in similar size to ours, and they used in a season 80 gallons of chlorine and a little bit under of muriatic acid. So I went off, roughly of 100 gallons per se for this one. I went up to Todd at H2O, got some numbers. Liquid chlorine, chemicals for pools right now are very expensive, just like everything else, but chemicals seem to be even more. For 120 gallons of liquid chlorine, you were at $650, and 100 gallons of muriatic acid, you were at $1,100, for a total cost of $1,750 without tax for just chemicals. It's a hard number to chew, but it's unfortunately with the way things are right now, costs and everything like that, it'll probably go up. So what I put in here today, 6 months from now or next year, number could possibly go up.
30 days.
Yeah, 30 days, even that. Last year there was a chlorine shortage for pools and people were freaking out because you couldn't buy chlorine, couldn't get this. So again, that's just a rough number cost for that. Todd did express interest in helping maintain chemical testing, things of that nature. So he did show interest in talking with council and seeing how he could help and be a part of maintaining it. Water costs. I talked with Brian about this. He reminded me that the village had okayed it that they would be paying the water bill when the time came for this. So I still went ahead and ran rough numbers. I called April. Yeah. April. Talked with her a little bit and kind of got some rough numbers. As you can see there, water tap for the quarter was $35. Sewer tap was $77.25 for a total of $112. Our holding tank for the splash pad is 3,000 gallons. And she had explained to me that it was $5.53 per 1,000 gallons, which came out to like $25 for a total water cost of $137.25 is roughly what a water bill would cost. Insurance, it was checked into last year, I believe, by Dean. It was an additional $250 for, I think, the year, possibly what it was.
Just a rider. Insurance policy.
Okay. So that cost would be calculated as well. So like you see there, the total operating cost for a 100-day period, you're looking at $2,300 roughly by the time it's all said and done. It's when I first saw that number, I was a little sticker shocked as well. I was expecting more so of the $1,500 range, but again, chemical costs have gone up from the original time that I started pricing everything. So it's a high number, but I think that it's worth it in the long run with the business that it'll bring to our town and the more people that it'll bring in. So any questions on that part of it? Yes, sir.
You mentioned the chemicals, and maybe I missed it.
Mhm.
Where are they going to be stored?
So that's I don't know yet.
Okay.
I haven't got that far. I guess that's at the last meeting I believe I was at, it was made comment that the village already has chlorine for out at the water treat building. So it was that we were going to check into that to see if it is the same and can be used. But as far as the
No,
storage,
I'm sorry, I should have told you before, that's, we use gas on a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we don't use the liquid.
okay. So pretty much, I guess on that part, you know, it'd be one of those things. The tank only holds 50 gallons, so you're not going to let it get all the way down to 5 gallons. So I understand bulk's probably always usually a little bit cheaper, but I think in that instance, just so you don't have to store it, that you would just buy it, in 5 gallon or 10 gallon pails or whatnot. I guess that's something I've not looked into.
Yeah, I was just concerned about the security, especially with fluid.
Correct. And the holding tanks for the chemicals, they have, it's a locked access. It's not just a wide open, anybody can go over and pull it up and look down in there, fall down in there. It's all a sealed access and everything like that. So.
Maybe we could store it, if they're gonna help us with the chemicals.
Correct.
We might be able to store it at the store up there.
Correct.
The holding tank, is it underground?
Correct. So the holding tank will be a 3,000 gallon holding tank, and it will be underground less than 40 feet away from the pad itself. Along with the water management system, the dome pack, which I have a picture of. Pretty much here's the dome pack and the recirculation system itself of how everything corresponds with the dome pack sticking up out of the ground, connecting to your water tank, then your water drain, debris trap. Main drain is in the center, activation switch. So you hit the activation switch, that tells all the pumps inside, hey, it's time to go, let's kick on. Sucks the water out of the tank, features go on, main drain, debris drain, right back into the tank, and it starts all over from square one.
That's this right
Correct,
here?
correct.
So it's further away from the river than.
It is closer to the road than anything, yes. And that is a sealed, I believe it's poly tank, and it has its own foundation, pretty much like its own dike that most farmers have to have for all their chemicals. It's got a foundation around it, stone base. It will also have chains that attach to hold it down. It's just like a septic tank. If you don't have water in a septic tanks will float up out of the ground. This tank would be the same way. So it has a locking system down to hold that tank down to keep it from ever trying to move around or come up out of the ground. So, but the dome pack as well, it has its own foundation, and actually 3/4 of it sits below ground. The way the cabinet works out with the pump and all the electronic valves, that is all down inside the ground. I believe it actually is maybe 3 feet above ground, kind of like a round cover. It flows in very nicely. I've seen pictures at other parks, and you honestly can't even tell. A lot of people plant that tall grass and flowers around it, and it just blends right in. So nothing that sticks out like a sore thumb. A lot of people go with this route due to the eco-friendly route of not just wasting water, sending it down with a free flow. This is all recirculated back into the system. So. Pretty much just in your guys' packets, there's just some more information. Like I said, for the soil sample, the very last page in there is a layout, like an aerial view of where all the features will correspond at on the pad. That is the topo survey that you guys had at the last meeting on the page before that. You guys had already seen that. That was just where they came into the park, did all the measurements, elevations to make sure it wasn't a flood zone. But that is just an aerial of how the features all lay out within themselves. The 15 total that will be on the pad itself. It's a 1-inch water line that will be tagged into the main water tank. It is I think I forgot to mention that. It's a 200 amp main with a 30 amp breaker is what the power calls for as far as that. just, you know, for some more information, rough concrete, we're looking at roughly 66 yards for concrete. You know, like I explained, there's the 46-foot inner circle, then you jump out another 5, then you jump out another 5. That's also, that number is included in the walkway for the entryway, which we're roughly looking at being 20 foot long, 6 foot wide, where we'll incorporate the bricks that we are fundraising, kind of like out at the football field when you walk up, everybody's name that purchases one will be on there. 6 to 8 weeks on the features. Build time is roughly what we're looking at, and then 10 to 12 weeks for the dome pack and the water management system. So the sooner we can get approval and we can get our deposit in, the sooner we can get this ball rolling. And, you know, there's a possibility we can still have it done this year, honestly.
Does anybody on council have any questions or comments for
Is
him?
there a warranty on,
There is. It is a limited lifetime warranty, just like everything else. I think the gentleman explained to me it's like 20 years, 15, 20 years.
okay, what's limited?
But it doesn't cover everything.
It doesn't cover.
Yeah, there's probably some limitations.
probably
I mean, there is on
basic
most
I
of them.
honestly
Yeah.
haven't dug deep into the warranty
Yeah.
part of it per se yet, but it's mainly just, you know, everything is a stainless steel feature that comes up out of the ground. I see that lasting more than 20 years. I think they're just stating that the painting and the plastic stuff of degradation is probably like 20 years, and then all your electronic solenoid valves, pumps, that's all normal wear and tear stuff that I don't think they consider under, you know, it probably has a manufacturer warranty of 1 to 5 years. But as far as all the features, I think it just depends on the state and the case of what they want to consider lifetime. But I can definitely look into that and get some more information on that for you.
Any other questions for Dustin?
Do you have any questions?
Well, Dustin, I just wanted to say that my intent was never to attack anybody on this. When we're called to vote on an emergency item without any information,
No, and
that especially because many of us are new,
correct.
that not having information and being responsible to our elected,
Correct.
the voters.
Yeah, and I
that's why-
guess.
And I appreciate the work you went into
Thank you.
to bring about this information, because I had never seen any
Thank
of
you.
this before, so
Thank
thank you very much.
I have my name, my phone number, my email address. Honestly, please reach out to me if you have questions. Do not hesitate. I will be more than happy to get an answer for you. That's what I'm here to do. That's why I joined this group. I want to see this succeed just as much as everybody else does. And, you know, we appreciate everybody's donations and things of that nature. Yeah, if you have questions, please reach out to me.
And if people would like to contribute, what could they do?
They can get on our Facebook page, Holly Beach Splash Pad, and get a hold of Maria or myself, or there's other people on there that run that page. Hannah Temple, Brian Smith, they are all a part of that page, and they can get you in contact with our treasurer or whoever need be to make a donation. So,
I took one of your originals so
Yes.
that we could attach it to
yes,
the
that's fine.
ordinance.
Okay, sounds good. If you need anything else, Amy, I can leave whatever you need. I can get with you after the meeting.
Probably it, right? That's probably it.
Okay.
So
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you guys very much.
Very
Thank you.
informative. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're still in the business.
We're still in visitors.
One more thing, so
Doug?
they had an emergency reading because they had a time frame they were trying to get this done in, and talking with Dustin, you're trying to keep costs down, so that's.
Correct.
So we have a, is it a second reading?
This is the second reading. Next month would also be
Yeah.
before the deadline too, but
But we can technically change it back because
Yes.
we altered it last time. So
Yeah,
if
that
we
was
want to
my
pass
point.
it through, so we don't end up costing them
Right.
another 10, 20 grand. But that probably shouldn't be the one to say that.
Yeah, that's why I brought that up, because
Yeah.
I made the motion last month to make it a first reading, because we didn't have information. But I'm open, anybody wants to change it, to do it tonight. fine with
and
me.
you said the quote is good through the end of June.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes. That's where I had a meeting with Mike, the gentleman that came to the meeting last year from Vortex that presented to the old council I've been working with him very closely. He has been a very great contributor, helper, answered a lot of my silly questions that I have had since I'm very new to this. And he knows that we're not messing around. Our funding is coming very, very quickly. And with the state funding, you know, we can pretty much pay cash at this point to purchase all the equipment at once. So that comment was made to him, and he went ahead and made a gesture that he could go back to his fab shop and have them start ordering some of the materials in to save us the delay of ordering stuff. So, like I said, he knows we're not messing around, that it's a full go, and it's just he's waiting on our approval and a deposit and everything like that to start building the features. So.
Yeah, I thought you guys presented it very well last year in the old council, and we covered a lot of this last year with you guys, but I appreciate you coming in and kind of restarting the process. That's kind of what happens when you have a total administration change, so.
Yep.
Apologize for slowing you guys
Hey,
down.
no, it's,
There's no one.
I understand there's a process. I understand that 100%, that you have to do things certain ways, and we appreciate, like I said, everything you guys are doing to help us and wanting to keep moving the project along. So we appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you, Dustin.
Yep.
Okay, Doug?
All right, just here to, I guess, ask permission or see what process I need to go. I don't know if everybody's aware that I bought a property at 602 South Erie Street, which is the corner where Gherkins used to have the recycle, and I own the house, the building behind it, and my son owns the property across the road. A little bit of, I guess, a mistake on my part is I assumed that I owned to the center of the street, like all the other property I've ever bought, and Brian come down and said that I did not, and he showed me what was going on. Apparently, the village owns like 35 foot to the south side of Water Plant Drive, which Brian said they, for a long time, and it's for their easement for utilities, water, gas, whatever runs through there. And that was my fault. I just didn't search enough. I mean, I got kind of lax on when I buy properties. I just never had an issue with like this, so I never even checked. But Rob had built a newer building out back, has a drive onto Water Plant Drive from the building, and I just assuming that was his property, and it was not, or is not, or now it's my property. But what I'm asking is if we can come to some kind of agreement, or just give me permission. I really don't even want an easement. I just want to be able to put a driveway in to that building and widen it. It's there, but I just need to make it wider so I can get my stuff in and out, which was going to require me just to, and at my cost, I'm not going to ask him for any kind of funding or anything for that, but I just want to strip the topsoil, put some stone down, no permanent cement, anything like that, not going to build anything on it, no fence, anything like that. I just want to be able to pull in and out, not have to drive, it wouldn't be, not even my property, so I don't want to drive into, your guys' property. I've got a picture of here of what I'm talking about. You can pass it around, but this is the drive that's currently in the Water Plant Drive. And what I'm asking to do is approximately this. There's a fence that runs north and south here, and this is approximately 42 feet from the drive that's in to where this is. And I just wanted to clean this topsoil off, put some stone into there so I can access this building, rather than only having like a 15-foot wide driveway, which is currently in there.
You'll be eliminating all this.
Just at the grass right there, yes. And that's approximately, Brian said 35 feet, is that right, Brian?
I'm sorry,
You
sir.
said approximately 35 feet, correct? So it's gonna be 35 foot approximately from, I don't know if that's from the edge of the road or not, but it might be from the center. I'm not sure how the
It's from
property
the edge
line
of the
goes,
road.
but from the edge, okay, from here to there is like 35 feet, which was what I'm asking to remove the topsoil, put some stone in, and, not gonna build anything, and I'm not looking to impede any, the town's property. I mean, they're free to use it, whatever. And this is how I found out that I don't own this, and I already done this, and that's when Brian comes out and said, hey, stop, you can't do that. So I was gonna, anyway, that's the house, the garage is with the house, and I just was gonna put a driveway from Water Plant Drive, this Water Plant Drive again, into that garage. And again, the dirt is sitting right here, I didn't take it anywhere, so I can't put it back if I have to, but, you know.
I wonder why you stopped on that.
What's that?
Right in here.
Yeah, from the fence, from this fence to here is about 42 feet.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking just to, like, so I can pull into here. There's doors on the west side of this building I need to kind of access, you know. So,
And right now, there's water lines running underneath.
I don't know, Brian would know.
There's water, sewer,
Will
storm,
that cause,
gas.
I mean, I'm fine with it all, but will that cause, could that cause issues running heavy trucks over it?
Well, there's always that potential. I don't know.
How deep are they? I mean,
I guess
40
time would
inches.
tell. It's just tough.
What are you gonna be running
mean,
back there?
it's
Doug?
not gonna
What,
be
what
like-
I know, what I have now is,
But let's make sure we understand, we're talking about two separate drives. Okay, we're talking about a new drive that he wants to put in, but he also wants to
Which, this is a
widen.
new one here, right?
that's the one I started on.
Right.
And, but that's gonna be like residential use is what
The
that's. gonna
second
be.
drive is back at the pole barn. He wants to widen that, and that is also in the right of way of the village. So if you do one, you do the other, is the only thing I'm saying. Make sure that you understand, we're talking about two drives, that's
Right,
correct.
correct.
Okay.
And that's what I got a picture of, both of them there. So, and, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that the water lines are installed correctly. And, you know, there's trucks that drive over every road in town. There's water lines, I'm sure, running down the alley of the bar that's stone, that has never had any issues with it. Now, anything, right, I mean, anything can happen, like Brian said, anything can
So
happen.
there's plenty
you
of
know.
breaks down on the one
So,
corner.
right,
all the
I mean,
time.
you know,
Right from
exactly.
the-
How big, I started to ask, how big units are you gonna be driving?
What I'm not talking like semis or cement trucks. I have a utility truck that's it's a C5500 GMC. So I mean, it's a mid-sized truck. Has a skid loader and an excavator on it. Minis. I'm gonna say roughly 10, 20. I'm gonna say 30,000. 15 ton is about, and a semi is 40 ton. So I mean, that's in relevance to what, what they can haul, so that's the stuff that I have. But, yeah, and there was a driveway there, and it was, I guess, an oversight on my, on my part, that I just didn't realize that wasn't mine, so.
If there's underground utilities, a right of way involved, we better have some, we better look
Well,
into
we
it
definitely
before
gotta we be
move
concerned
forward.
about the utility. I mean, we wouldn't want a water line to get crushed because of a 15,000 pound.
Correct, I understand.
And the access would be a little harder. Instead of going through top.
Somewhere there's a fire hydrant. Where's that at in
It's in between both of these.
between both of those? Okay.
We have the utility. Activate utility.
I saw that cartoon. He was showing us.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah, no problem.
I didn't know if there was anything precaution wise that would be better to have concrete on it.
I'm not talking about concrete, this is just gonna be stone. I
I'm
mean,
just thinking the concrete might be better than having just stone.
To disperse the
to-
weight.
Oh,
to
well, I mean,
distribute the weight
if-
over those, but then would be the problem if there was something, then you just gotta rip your
Yeah.
concrete
Right.
out.
I mean, honestly, we have an excavating company, we put in bases and stuff all the time. I mean, if you do it correctly, dig it down and put in the number twos and you bolt it up, it's probably would be better than what most people come in and put just a, 6-inch pad on top of some stone fill. I mean,
Wonder how difficult, it probably wouldn't be that difficult. Have you had any of the locates done on it?
now I have, yeah.
If we get the locates
Well, actually,
down-
no, I didn't locate anything there. I did my property, but, the gas line is marked, is the only thing. The water department, I don't know about that.
That's what I don't know, if we have the information on anything that's there, it'd almost be wise to be exploratory on it and see how deep is this stuff, and have somebody kind of look at it and say, what do you think? I mean, if it's 3 foot, it might not be good, but if
Yeah, but I
it's
would
6
say-
foot, you're probably
I would say
okay.
Pudge would be the
Yeah,
person
3
to ask, because I'm sure he's dug it up and worked on something somewhere in that area. I mean, yeah, I would think so. And maybe he was even around when he put it in, who knows?
I mean, it is kind of a concern, I don't know what is actually there, it's just water and sewer. I mean, we drive over that on all our driveways in
Storm
town.
gas.
I mean,
Is there-
utilities under driveways, there's all kinds in front of my house.
Right.
You know, that we go over all the
Sanitary?
time.
Where-
Is there sanitary also?
No, but is it?
I don't know, I can't remember if they're sanitary.
You gave it to us.
I potentially don't see a problem with it.
We definitely
Being as though
got
you're not
some
gonna
of that.
have semis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge difference between landscape trailers and semis. Small equipment to heavy. But I think it deserves at least looking into seeing what all there and how deep. it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was I wasn't unaware there's utilities underground, there always is.
Sure.
But I mean, I was unaware that I didn't own the property, is what I was unaware of. So, you know, now that's my fault, cause I bought, you know, hundreds of properties, I just didn't do, any due diligence on figuring that out. I
One
mean,
you already done.
Rob already had a driveway in there, never thought of that, and I asked Brian, I said, what was the agreement with that? And he said, I had no idea. So, you know,
Happened
so
before
I,
got on council.
yeah, I just assumed there was not an issue there.
Without me knowing while I was on council, I
Yeah.
had nobody come
Had I,
down
yeah.
and ask.
Cause I've been to a couple meetings, you know, well, with most, I don't know if everybody was new there, but I think within the last 6 months, I've been to a couple meetings. I was told Brian, I was like, yeah, nobody said anything to me about having an issue there, you know, before I bought it, because I hadn't, you know, before I bought it, I come here to make sure I could use the property for what I needed, not knowing that I didn't know that sticking around there, so.
And that is our issue, right? Isn't that, it's not that it's not town property and you can't put it on, it's that we wanna know what's under that could get damaged, right? Like,
Well, it's village property,
It
and
is
if we're
village.
gonna allow him to cross it, then we better know what's underneath
That's right.
there and how deep it is.
Yeah.
I think
And
that's-
usually when we allow encroachments in right-of-ways, we make them revocable. They only go with the current owner.
okay.
Well, that would be all right too. The
Okay.
current owner wouldn't be against buying that strip of
Taking
ground
it
either.
takes a little discussion.
Not for sale.
All right.
I got some other things we can talk about.
Well, that would be.
It's probably gonna take.
You can keep that if you want it, I mean, if you wanna
Put
look
these
at
in
it
the
or whatever.
record.
It's probably gonna take a little bit of
Because
legwork, just
We're
to
gonna have to get the
Okay.
make sure,
utilities.
just so
We're gonna get the
We
utility
can turn
committee
this over to the
anyway.
utilities committee.
that's not me.
That's
Yeah.
Brian
There's-
Smith,
There's
Dean,
not
and
gas
Janet.
under there, is there?
Yes.
Brian, you chairman of that.
Oh, perfect. Welcome to the board.
Yeah.
Looks like we could have it right now.
Well, Doug, we'll do everything we can to try to help you get in there, and we'll just
Okay.
make sure that there isn't some surprise.
You know, for
there.
some, yeah, if there's something that could be done, I mean, if the concern is where you think that, you know, the concrete would be better, I mean, I'm not against pouring a concrete apron to get across the utilities, whatever I gotta do, I mean, I have a building that I really can't use right now,
Yeah.
and it's not really great for me, so, you know. I appreciate you guys' time.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
You know, last time when we were digging, we found the gas lines are only like 16 inches deep at most. So, yeah, anyhow.
So utilities tried to get a meeting set up,
Let me know when you get
get
it.
answers for him.
I'll put it on the
I'll get a hold of you
website.
guys.
I'll put it on the website when you know.
Okay.
6 o'clock.
Okay, let's move on.
Can we do it sooner?
Police report.
Have a copy of my report, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
George, what's going on with the police equipment trouble?
We do a report anytime anything happens, if we replace a computer, if we do an oil change, anything like that.
Okay.
So sometimes it really isn't anything.
Big, okay, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't stuff like failing that you were
No.
trying to use that,
No,
okay.
I'd be here asking for something that was.
All right, copy that.
Have you got any responses back from your search?
Zero.
Did you, is it just on Facebook?
Nope, it's,
Defiance Crescent, it's on the internet, plus then social media. Defiance Crescent puts it online as well.
Okay.
I think it has another week, one more week.
Okay.
George, what does left village limits mean?
if we leave the village limits, we do a report.
Okay.
Go to the prosecutor's office, just anything. If we go outside in the county, you speak to someone that are pushed to a case, we just document every time the cruiser leaves. So when the mayor gets a call and says, do you know we saw your cruiser at McDonald's and Pauly? We can show her why we were at McDonald's and Pauly, and we're on our way to the prosecutor's office, county court and stuff too.
I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You take care of tall grass. Are you the guy I talk to?
Yeah.
By the talk to you.
Amy?
The first reading
George.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, George.
resolution number 2022-03. I'm sorry, second reading. A resolution to proceed with submission of the questions of levying a tax that is a renewal of existing levy in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of providing and maintaining fire protection and emergency services. Now we're on the Holly Beach splash pad. So I never changed my ordinance. I left it as an emergency. Do you want to proceed with this as an emergency and someone motion to suspend, or do you want to do this as a second reading?
I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules of 3
Well,
readings.
she's got to, just let her then do the reading of it as an emergency.
Resolution number 2022-04, a resolution supporting the Holly Beach Splash Pad project by Antwerp Community Development Committee Incorporated and granting permission for the construction and installation of the splash pad at Riverside Veterans Memorial Park and declaring the same an emergency.
And just so everyone knows, we did switch out the map and put the one they provided today for the.
But, okay. The new engineers.
And I'll continue with that motion to suspend the rules for 3 readings.
Yeah, I will second that.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Ken Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we pass.
I'll
And
second.
I will second that. too.
I got Jason.
Get this thing done.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Sorry.
Steve Jordan,
Yeah.
Ken Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes. Well, actually, I should abstain. I apologize.
You just noticed the abstain. You want to abstain from
On
the
both?
vote?
Yeah, I should abstain from both. I
And
apologize.
that's fine.
That's
We
my
only
bad.
needed 5 to pass as an emergency, so we're fine if you want to show
So
him.
they're good, they're good to go now.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
We appreciate that, and we will, we'll move forward, and we'll keep everybody up to date. If we get new things popping up, we'll be gladly to come back in and keep everybody up to date on what's going on.
Okay,
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Posted on how
The
things go.
sticky.
Yes, sir. We will.
We will.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
We are doing a
Yeah,
second
thanks.
reading on ordinance 2022-15, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2010-16, an ordinance to retain the services of a zoning inspector for the village of Antwerp, Paulding County, Ohio, specifically to amend such ordinance to provide a one-time payment on completion of the zoning ordinance update. That was the second reading. We're doing resolution number 2022-06, a resolution consenting to the waiver of potential conflict of interest and authorizing the mayor to enter into a waiver of the potential conflict of interest by and between the village of Antwerp, Ohio, and National Oil and Gas Incorporated in regards to the 102 River Street transaction and declaring the same an emergency.
And this is the one where I'm the solicitor for the village of Antwerp. My law partner represents National Oil and Gas Incorporated. An issue has arisen, well, a couple issues, with the 102 River Street transaction, which the village is not involved in that transaction. It's a private transaction, but there are some encroachments in the right-of-way for the village. Brian was able to find where Sarah had given them a revocable permit for the sign, so that issue we think is taken care of, but there's still a canopy that encroaches in the right of way. And we're just thinking a similar approach, just to do the same kind of revocable permit. The other issues they've noticed, or their surveyor discovered, that the legal description for the water line easement that the Bruicks gave to the village of Antwerp, that the legal description, when you look through it, it doesn't close, there's like an opening in the actual legal description. Brian and I have discussed this. I mean, it's a private transaction. If they want to have it resurveyed and give us a correct legal description, I'm sure the village would be happy to assist in making sure the grant of easement is corrected and shows the correct legal description, but that would be a cost for them to do the survey. But for me to be involved, I need a waiver of the conflict of interest. And we call it potential conflict of interest because you're not really dealing directly with that party. They're just a party to a private transaction where they're asking for the village to assist in a few things, but I feel better having something like this approved. And what is attached is the waiver of the potential conflict of interest that has been signed on behalf of somebody for National Oil and Gas, so that's already attached. So I just wanted to kind of
So is this the
advise
awning,
the canopy
the
that's here.
canopy part?
It encroaches into
On
the right of way.
49?
Yes.
So property lines essentially up, like anything that goes
And
over.
it's hanging over.
So is that a problem with anybody?
No, because we've already done it for the sign. The
It's just the
sign was
private.
done back in 2010. This is just something I think the surveyor, when they did it, maybe they didn't notice when the last time it was purchased by Slattery Oil, but they're the current owner, the current seller of the property. That same canopy was there. For whatever reason, it didn't come up when they were doing all their survey and their title issues. It came up now, so it's just kind of similar to the sign.
How far does it extend over?
It's not very much. I think it was, I wrote it down somewhere.
It's like just a foot or so, isn't it?
It's a little more than that. Oh, I put it in here. I wrote that down.
I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules for 3
And I'll
readings.
find that out.
Yeah, I don't even, yeah, you know what, I don't even care, let's just approve
Okay.
it.
I do know it.
I will say it.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Ken Reinhardt.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
And Brian Smith.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we pass.
Second.
You guys are making my notes easy. I'm just gonna repeat.
And this is specifically for,
Just for me to be
just for you,
involved.
not for anything else dealing
No.
with them.
We're trying
That's
to
what I-
make it
No, this
easier.
doesn't have anything
Right,
to do
right.
with what's going to happen there. That's just what I'm gonna be involved. This gives me permission to be involved in it.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt.
Yes.
And Brian Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I will move forward on that, and
The
obviously
state-
I'm working with Brian on
The
it.
state's not hollering or anybody.
It's nothing to do with the state, it's just the seller contacted Brian and wants the village to obviously assist with that right-of-way encroachment in the water line easement, because they want to sell that property. So there's a couple of things that are holding up the transaction, and we just, yes.
Which this all might come back again and we'll have more discussion about it and do more stuff, but
This is just so I can. get
saying that she can
involved.
work on it.
Okay. Real good.
Thank you.
The next ordinance is ordinance 2022-17, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the village of Antwerp, Ohio to rezone certain parcels in the village of Antwerp, Ohio, and declaring the same an emergency.
So why is it an emergency? That was my question.
Is it the zoning?
Yes,
It says
Has
it by
to
the
be.
ordinance.
it's, well, I mean, the reason
we
is
have-
under the revised code, the timeline that you're
There's
getting.
30 days.
Yeah.
From
Well,
the
you have
time of the
incremental
hearing.
dates, and this is, you're up to like, we have like a couple of days left, and then we have to begin all over again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
the zoning ordinance has a specific process. Anytime you amend either the zoning ordinance or the zoning map, we have to do that public hearing, which happened, but then you all have to make a decision within 30 days
30
of
days
that
of that
public
hearing.
hearing.
We don't
So
want
there
to.
wouldn't be enough time to do
No, I
the
understand.
readings.
Yeah.
But on 90 days, we have 30 days.
We have
Right,
30
so-
days.
Yeah.
From then.
From the public hearing.
Right.
From the
then.
public hearing.
What are we
Gotcha.
doing, suspend the rules? I'll make a
Yes.
motion. to suspend the rules.
I'll second.
I had to mess it up, didn't I,
But
Dee?
that's why.
Kenny Reinhardt.
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
And Brian Smith.
Yes.
Motion to pass.
Second.
Good God.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt.
Yes.
And Brian Smith.
And the only thing different from the one that you have in front of you is that highlighted zoning map that Gabe brought tonight that's attached as an exhibit to it.
And I didn't need to recuse myself from that since my property was no
It was
longer
removed.
affected, right?
You were removed from the list, so
Okay.
you're not even on there.
You're all set with what you want to do, though, that's taken care of.
No, we just
Yeah,
didn't do
yeah,
anything
it
with
was
your-
basically just
Left it
saying,
al- Left it alone.
left it alone
Yeah, his
from what
was
it
even,
was,
it was
yeah.
totally off
Yeah.
the list.
Yeah, it's not even on the list anymore.
Ordinance number 2022-18, an ordinance authorizing the village's participation in the non-filing delinquency program through the Regional Income Tax Agency and authorizing the village administrator to execute the RETA non-filing program authorization and authorization letter and declaring the same an emergency.
What is that?
So, I'll do my best and then you can correct me. So, basically what Rita came and said is that you have individuals that could, and they sent this out to everyone that they work with in the state of Ohio, could not be paying village income tax, based on our records that we have. So, by entering into this agreement, we have to do it as an emergency because it has to be to them, I think, by June 1st. They will contact the individuals. They have the ability to provide them with a subpoena, an administrative subpoena requiring the tax records to prove whether in fact they do or do not owe. And it only costs us $1, and that's only when they do a subpoena. So it's an opportunity for us to maybe see some additional revenue for individuals who are working outside of the community that still have an obligation to pay municipal taxes.
And it's a two-step process. They do the letter first, and hopefully get the information they want through that way. If they don't get a response, then they do the administrative subpoena.
And then they charge us $1.
Yeah, and that's what they wanted the authorization for, is if we wanted to do both parts of
And
the
this is for
program.
people living here, working out.
Yes, generally speaking, yes.
So is this basically giving up our authority to say they can do basically whatever they want if they feel the need?
No.
This is just delegating to them that they have the right to then seek from they think potential non-filers information to either confirm or, deny.
As
that
the
they- whether or not
administrator,
they
I
need
have the ability to
file.
waive any penalties that Rita imposes on an
Yeah.
individual.
I just don't like,
But they're doing this because they wanna charge us $1.
No, they're doing this because there's people living here that's not paying their taxes.
Well, I get that.
And they're
but-
coming to us and saying,
But-
do you
And
want
if
our
they
help
send the
searching
letter,
them?
they don't charge us anything.
Right, but if we want them to subpoena and do it, then it costs us $1, so we have to
They
agree to
have to
pay
have
them.
authorization by council.
That's what I meant by that.
Yeah, that's the point of why we need
so,
an ordinance.
and why does this need to be an emergency? Why?
It's
It has to be to
June
them
1st.
by June 1st.
Why?
That's the requirement that they have.
Why? I mean, why?
I don't know why.
And if you guys don't wanna do it, then we just let that deadline lapse. I mean, it's one, or this is their program, these
Yeah,
are their terms.
I don't want to, I don't like it.
I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules of 3 readings.
I will second.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
No.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.
I make a motion, we pass.
I'll second.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
No.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the last thing I have is the RETA. The RETA report in May, for the month of April, we brought in $36,780.34, which is $18,201.16 less from last year in the same month. And so far, we are $14,788.45 less for the year to what we were last year at this time. And that's all I have.
Why such a difference?
Non-filers. Honestly, I mean, there's people not filing, people may be late, we might see a bigger one next month that makes up for it.
That's been my experience with the time that I've had on here when I see the RETA report come through every year. It's like month to month, and sometimes it'll go 3 months, it'll be less, and then all of a sudden you'll have 3 months that are over. It's people getting caught up and people getting behind, people moving away that don't live here. There's just all kinds of variables. Hopefully at the end you end up in a positive instead of a negative from the year before.
You all have an EMS report in your packet. Okay, let's move along to Brian.
Just a few things to report. Working with ODNR and FEMA to update our flood map. It is required, it is time, I think it was 25 years ago that it was done. And I had conversations this past week with them, and I've sent or provided Melanie with a 27-page ordinance that she can peruse. I typed it up myself, maybe not. But anyways,
You may
so
not have forwarded that to me from.
I did. I did on Sunday
Well, that's what I
afternoon.
mean, it was forwarded from somebody who.
Well,
created
that's true. Yeah, I typed the email myself. So anyways, we're getting that done, which is, I thought it was gonna be a lot more than what it was. I'm glad it wasn't. Another thing we updated and
And
signed.
we'll
it-
do that 3 readings, so we'll have the
Right.
first reading in June, they just need to have it passed by September.
September.
So we'll do June, July, August, once I get this in the format it needs to be in, so it'll be in your council packet for June. And you all get to read the 25-page ordinance. Maybe you'll do more by
It's a
then.
good read. So, we updated our membership with Ohio 811. We know it as OOPS, locate. The benefit of it is that, I mean, the non-benefit is there's a $100 a year, I think, membership fee. The benefit is we now will be charged 70% less than we currently are paying. So in '22, we were charged $606.25, where if we were members, we would have paid $184. So we got that done. We were notified that we received the ODOT TAP grant for the sidewalk on Erie Street. So we got $100,000 engineering cost and engineering estimated cost with engineering fees was $77,000. The reason they gave us more is the funds are available in July of '24, and they anticipate escalation of cost.
What'd you say, 100,000 even?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I'm working with them. We have to go through some engineering process with them and stuff. And I was talking with them today as well.
So we're still 2 years out on the sidewalk out of
Yeah.
Erie.
That's-
I knew I should have pushed it when I had the chance
That's
2 years ago.
That's the downside of grants. The money's good, timing's not.
Is that going to eliminate the $4 a foot assessment
No,
for
sir.
the people? We'll still have
No,
that.
so, and I don't know that it'll be $4. It may be more, it may be less.
Right,
It depends
right.
on, at the end of the day, what the cost is. The benefit is it's a 95/5 grant, so 95% of that money is given to us. So it's the cheapest sidewalk we'll be able to ever get, so. In the process of finalizing the grant proposal to the Paulding County Commissioners for Railroad Street. Right now, Maumee Valley has us requesting $50,000. There's 3 projects, they have $150,000, so mathematically, we assume that we could get 50. If approved, may be able to get more than that. Engineering costs came in at roughly $128,000. So,
Now that's to put in the sidewalk and
that's to do everything there.
everything.
Yep,
Water line.
repaving, water line, everything. So, finalized the water plant engineering this past week in a conference call. I will be getting a couple of copies, one for council and then one for down at the depot. I have it in electronic format. Based on estimated cost of $5.325 million, based it on the number of actual water meters that the village has of 720, based on current EPA fixed interest rate of 0.78%. That was last week. Who knows what it is this week? It would cost the residents of the village $24 per month, per meter, for 30 years to build this plant.
$24.
$24, and that includes no grant funds, no nothing. We just went out and borrowed the $5.325 million. So,
Pretty much $75 per billing cycle.
yep, 72 to be exact.
For how many years? 20?
30.
30 years?
Yes. One of the things that we're trying to look at, that we're doing, there's 7 entities that have joined together to do a regionalization, utilization study. The cost utilizing Westler Engineering is $35,000. The village's portion is $4,800. It includes Paulding County Commissioners, the Village of Paulding, Antwerp and Payne, Paulding Township, Harrison Township, and Carryall Township. So everybody's paying a piece. So we're gonna take a look.
What's this for?
It's a water regionalization
Okay,
study.
all right, gotcha.
So moving water from Paulding
Yeah.
to these other outlying areas, including ourselves and stuff. So we're
Do you
doing this.
know that there's no pipes underneath the clover leaf out there?
No, there's 2.
No, there's not.
There is. I have the GPS marking and everything from ODOT. There is. It's not under the clover leaf.
No,
It's a little bit.
It's the school road, whatever road that is.
Yeah,
Harmon.
Harmon.
And then there's one on Wentworth,
Well, I have.
but there's
Okay.
not one on 49.
No, there's not on 49, but there's 2 that go under 24.
Yes, one on Wentworth and one on what school farm.
Yeah, I've got the mapping GPS coordinates.
Okay.
I know that they're,
You're aware of that.
yeah,
Okay.
word about that. So anyways, once that study's done, then we can take a look at what that cost is compared to what the water plant cost is. We do know by reaching out to the Ohio EPA, the state government and the federal government is, let's just say they're more interested in a regionalization approach than they are funding water plants for small villages. So we'll just see where it takes us. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Can you make a clean tell me where you're staying for this one?
What? 4,800?
Yeah. Just come in tomorrow so I don't forget.
Stick
Otherwise I'll
on.
forget.
Pick it on. Under my engineering layer. Any other questions?
Is there a bathroom?
Yeah, right around the corner.
So all the entities pay the same rate
No, sir.
for underwater? How does that work?
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the meters, yes.
For the meters, yes.
Uh-huh.
Well, is there a commercial rate differential, or is commercial and business or residential? the
Some are
same?
monthly, but I mean, it's basically the same thing except for Paragon we have a contract with.
Okay. So, yeah.
So citizens of Antwerp pay the same as citizens from
Paulding and Payne, that's what he was meaning.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
We don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's two different questions. So are you asking, is the per gallon cost in Antwerp the same as it is in Payne, as it is in Paulding?
He's saying when you do this, would it be the same amount, right?
Right,
You're asking if we
Yeah.
regionalize, will we all be paying?
correct. Are we gonna pay the same for
I
a
don't think
gallon?
we know that yet.
Yeah, I mean, that would have to be determined at the end of the
If they
study.
would do that, do we still have to treat the water?
No,
It'll be all treated?
it'll be all treated.
Okay.
It would come in. My thought is if we did this, we would maintain our well field, so we have backup water in the case, for some reason, we lost water, but
All
needed
we-
fire protection, we could bring that
All
line.
we would need is a water tower. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
We get rid of our sulfur.
Yes, we would. There's pros and cons to both. Just need to look at what's affordable.
Yeah, I know.
That's a lot of pipe.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I do on,
Committee report?
committee report, yeah, committee report. There's tall grass, 304 West Daggett. And I think that's Doug Bray's property, but I'm not sure, I didn't want to say anything.
Well, the problem is, I mean, I've drove around.
It's an empty lot.
Okay.
And then
I mean, obviously, we've had an ample supply of rain,
I know,
and I'm trying
I know.
to cut some people some slack.
Okay.
Because I might have to write some of you guys up, I don't know.
On 16 South Erie Street, there's a big brush pile in the backyard that people, I've been getting complaints. Animals is under there and stuff.
Okay.
Did they finish mowing the apartments?
I'm sorry?
Mowing the apartments down there?
What
Did
did
they
finally
finish that?
did.
Okay.
They finally did.
Cause that was bad.
That was bad, yeah.
Well, they got an area that's kind of wet that they probably won't be, until they fix the water line, won't be mowed.
I just had to give you something to do.
I appreciate that, guys.
It's
Appreciate it.
below there, isn't it, where that?
Do we have a
Get together and have coffee, and I'll give you that.
It's probably there all the time.
I will follow up on
Yeah, well,
these.
then-
Water line, but it's their water line, not ours.
River
So
Street.
they are
Don't
paid
know the
for it,
house
right?
number, I couldn't find
They-
it.
Somebody-
Yeah. It's a little yellow
We've
house.
been out there, but
Yes,
it's
yeah.
ours.
I don't need
Catty
to
corner,
tell you.
it's
Right.
from the South Station.
Committee meetings, right?
It's on the road that's made the dead end road.
Okay.
It looks really, really nasty, but I don't even think it was here. Somebody owns it, so somebody's responsible.
Okay.
Okay,
You
okay,
say,
that's the committee reports.
I've got,
I don't think that's.
on May 4th, I went to the fire meeting. We've got a critical problem. In the daytime, we have 2 firemen available, and one of those is in and out of town, so there are always 2. This is a problem that's going on in all the communities. I'm going to the fire meeting again Wednesday evening, the regular fire meeting, and invited them to come with ideas if they've got any on what we can do. I've been racking my brain trying to think, and it's an ongoing problem because the state's got its nose in training that they have to take, and it's so extensive and expensive, people say, I'm not gonna be a volunteer fireman, and that's the underlying cause. I've talked to, other fellows, to the commissioner, and also, Roy Kloppenstein, who's running for state representative. I know Roy real well, and see what we can pursue there on a statewide basis, because this has gotta be corrected.
Well, we've had grants the last few years. We have grant money.
Yeah, but we need manpower.
It's still, isn't it 160 hours of training?
I'm saying the
You know,
village pays for that
but-
training.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The village pays
Yeah.
for that, so
You're
it's not a
saying
hardship
people
on
don't
them.
wanna put the time
But
in to
it's,
do
and
that.
it's the time. I'm not, Bryce, I'm not sure what it is, but it's.
I think Ed Bone told me it was 160 hours, but.
And they gotta go to Northwest Tech to do it. When back when I was in the fire department, they used to come to the fire station and give it. And now you go to Northwest Tech, and that's a sizable ride.
They have increased their physical requirements as well, and a
Yeah.
lot of people are
Yeah.
failing the physicals, so
So I'm
it's more
addressing
intense,
that.
physical through Community Memorial Hospital.
Yeah, I have another report next month, so.
Okay.
Okay.
The tax administrator, that's.
But I have no ideas what we can do.
I see.
mean,
If people,
don't either.
If
No.
people want to join the fire department, who would they contact?
Bob
Bob
Addis.
Addis? Okay.
Yeah, Bob is fire chief.
And when are the meetings that they
The
can go
meetings are
to?
the first and third Wednesday of every month.
First and third Wednesday of each month, okay.
What even is that? The first-
When I got on there, the waiting list, there were about
Is that
25
emergency
people.
bill?
And when I got on, I was number 26, they let me on, because I wanted to be on for years, and they let me on, but there was a waiting list, and now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep, thank you. Is that all the committee reports? Move on to new business.
I don't know if this is new business or not, but last month, I had brought about having small agricultural animals. I wanted to pass around what Paulding's was.
And then I did look up that House Bill 124 you brought up.
It
failed in December
Yeah.
of 2020.
I just say, after looking at that again, I believe it did, after
And it
because I
only
talked
dealt
to
with
Craig.
counties and townships. It did not even deal with municipalities. It was just specific to counties and townships. And it
Okay, because
failed
I
in
had talked to
December
Craig
31
Riedel
of
specifically
2020.
about that,
Well,
but yes.
I just, when we bring those up, either ask me beforehand and I can
Sure.
check into that, but we gotta be careful of, relying on things that are not law.
But because last time I'd asked, if anybody had changes at all, give your thoughts on the existing one. Because I still think we need to.
I think part of the problem is
people-
that you ran on this as a platform when you were running, and then you came in 3 months ago and said it was because Russia was invading Ukraine, and then last month I think it was because the grocery stores and the food, you've changed, and the 4-H, which you so nicely threw us all under the bus on your West Bend and your personal post.
What?
Yeah. Oh, what?
Absolutely.
Bryce, don't play stupid.
Okay.
It's on West Bend. It's your post that's calling us and saying that we're against education for kids and the
Right.
4-H program, when that was not ever proposed to us. That was not what you brought to us.
Hold on.
No,
We had Michael Schweinsberg contact 2 council members on this exact thing, am I right?
that you reached out to him and had him reach out to them.
And then your
No, I did
headline-
not.
Then your headline was.
Wait a minute, first of all, where did you
Council's
get that
Against
from?
And again,
Where did you get that from?
Bryce, it doesn't. I'm not going to pick out every single
Okay,
lie
well-
that you've told along the way.
I don't know what lies I need you to point out the
House
lies.
Bill 124
There's
is a
too
good
many.
one.
No,
But
House Bill 124
was
was
down
dead.
to
dead.
20.
Was dead.
Now-
2 years ago.
Okay, and yes, okay, but it was still in committee. I'm sorry,
No,
but
it wasn't. It's dead, Bryce. It's,
Okay.
It's not a problem. It's
Okay.
nothing that we need to get ahead of, and
Okay.
that's what you're trying to use
What?
as your fear factor to get us to put chickens in here.
whoa. I said small animals. We have 10,000 rabbits right now running around, and you're saying that people can't have them?
That's
No,
more my.
I'm saying there's ordinance and laws in place. And last
Okay.
month,
Well, first of
you,
all-
no, hold on. Last month, you encouraged the citizens of this village to go against ordinances.
And that's
You
against
said,
your-
and I quote,
That's against your.
well, maybe we should just do it anyway, which is against your oath that you swore to take.
Okay, you
absolutely
also swore
bordering on
to
disorderly
uphold the
conduct.
Constitution.
This is not the Constitution.
How about we make a rule that says, let's ban guns?
Oh, now you're getting way off.
What? See, your lips quivering because you know you're wrong, Bryce.
No,
You know you're wrong.
What would you think of that, Steve?
You know what I think about it, I'm a lifelong NRA member.
Okay, why
Underage
can't we ban
instructor.
guns when we just had a murder?
Because it's all right to own them.
Okay.
And did
But
they own
the
chickens?
But the
Is it-
correction of that,
Could
you're
we
getting
keep
way
it
off the left
focused
base.
on
Okay.
what the
Is,
subject
they need
is?
correction.
That's right. The Second Amendment says you can't ban guns. Is that correct?
That's
Hey,
right.
now this.
Now, the 14th Amendment says the same thing about personal property, that a town cannot ban people from owning animals.
Well, I disagree
Now,
with that.
we could, just because we make rules, we can regulate it. Why do you think there is no other town in Northwest Ohio that does this?
Who knows if that's true?
There's not, I can
Again,
tell you, I can tell you.
Okay.
And I can tell you, Williams County is in Northwest Ohio.
Yes.
There's not a community that permits livestock inside the borders of its municipality.
I do not
Check.
believe you, Brian.
I'm
Because
just telling you, I live there.
The
we don't
Ohio
believe that.
Constitution
Do you
has
live-
ruled that is not against your constitutional rights for the village to
Okay.
say you can't have
So,
small animals.
yes, I would actually encourage people to have them, because we would not, the town could
Again.
not win.
Again, encouraging people to go against the ordinances, laws that are established in this village.
If you're taking
That's
away their
borderline
liberty,
misconduct.
I'm just
if
saying.
you are taking away their rights,
I'm not taking away anything, Bryce.
their
You're-
constitutional rights.
I'm not taking away anything. And what is the rights of all the people that have already voted on the ordinance that's been in place? You're going after your chicken, your agenda, but people don't want it. And I
Yes,
have a
they
whole
do.
list. I have a whole
they
list
don't.
of people that have come to
Even
me.
last week, last month, you had people approach you. You had people approach you. Your neighbor actually had a different story than what you gave. But however,
See, and you're manipulating.
No,
Again,
no,
you're
they
using
didn't.
your people to try to
The
manipulate
people
the
that
system.
approach, I've had people approach me jokingly say,
You know what
we
he's
had one just the
talking
other day, Bill Boylan and
I'm
I.
not sure
so-
which neighbor that come to me and asked if they can have chickens, and I told them no. That's the only thing I remember saying.
I had a guy
About
stop
my
the other
neighbor.
day, Bill Boylan vouched for this, he said, I
Okay,
want to start raising llamas, what do I have to do to get llamas?
Nice.
The people that
Okay.
have approached me are thanking me for standing up and not wanting them. If I want to live on a farm, I'll move to the country. It's a-
okay,
But we
you
do
do
appreciate
not,
you.
nobody loses. Look, if you want people to move, which is what you said last time.
I said that in context to what
Okay.
you said, Bryce. Don't put
If
words
we
in my
want
mouth.
people-
Again, already
We
lying.
haven't, this town has not grown since
full of shit.
1970.
The chickens are gonna make it grow.
You realize that? You're full of shit. And I will say it right to the camera. You are using your agenda, you're using your paper to manipulate people and try to get them on board with this, and it's not the truth. I have a whole list of people that have come up to me and told me it's garbage, not only what you do in here to try to manipulate things and go against the people of this community, but you're also talking bad about people and spreading rumors. Yes, when you go on your page and say lies about the people that are on this committee, say
I
you
have
didn't,
not
say
said
you didn't.
any lies.
You want me to pull up the picture of it?
Which one?
The one that you say we were going against education for the students of this village. Which lie?
Yes, I want you to pull it up.
Actually, you know what?
Pull
I
it up.
can't. You know what?
Pull it
I
up.
can't because
You're making
I
these statements.
I blocked
Do
him.
it.
Yeah,
Do
okay.
it.
Does anybody follow the Western? I blocked him, so I can't get to it.
saw
I do
it.
not know
Yeah.
what you're even talking about.
I saw it the next day after the meeting. It said something like Village Council, watch the video, Village Council prohibits 4-H students from education
Yeah,
in the
it said
village.
we were denying
Right.
children
That's 100%
to participate in
true.
4-H.
They're not. That's not even what you
Michael
brought.
Schweinsberg asked, and we said no.
No,
That
you
was
didn't-
Michael
denying. That's literally
Schweinsberg
the
was
word
not at our meeting.
denying.
You didn't make a motion. Nothing was, there was no motion, there was no vote for anything on 4-H.
That's because I'm
But-
just presenting it so we can have
But you're
something
making,
in
you're making it
place.
sound like Michael Schweinsberg approached me and approached Dean, and we said, no, we're not gonna do that. We brought that up to a meeting and discussed it.
That's right.
We've discussed it because it's what was decided on. It's not me telling him, no, we're not gonna do it, or he didn't tell him, no, we're not gonna do it.
That's right.
It was brought up, and that's what the council's for, because we're thinking for what the people of the town wants, and that's what they want.
Okay, but you still can't take away people's personal liberties.
We didn't.
Bryce,
We're not.
You're out of
Now.
order.
Bryce!
You're out of order.
Now,
You are the only person here that wants chickens in town.
I-
There is
I-
no interest in it. It's a dead matter.
Listen here.
You listen to
I
me.
presented, all I want is some feedback on this.
You've got it.
You've got it.
Okay.
Yeah, don't go, but don't
It's
go
not gonna
on,
happen.
yeah, don't go on.
Social media
on
and
social-
slam the.
No, actually,
Right.
Because you're not getting your way.
You're just
Look, I didn't
disruptive on
swear
every
that.
meeting, Bryce.
I don't care. I am here for
Well,
the
we
rights
do.
of the
We're here
people.
to accomplish something, and you just keep disrupting our
I
meetings.
am going to bring this up every single meeting.
And every meeting,
until
we're shutting
people-
it down.
Will you?
We're not interested.
Because people deserve their rights.
Why don't we just vote on
So-
it? Why don't you
Yeah,
make a
why don't
motion and
we
vote
vote
on it?
Because
I'm
we already-
presenting
you
this,
already
so
have. It's
I
law.
would like to have people comment on what could we do to make this work for everybody.
What work?
It's everything.
The
what we
paper
got
I
in
gave
place
you
is
last
working.
month. I gave you a paper last month. You guys said you'd review it, especially Dean.
I looked at it.
Antwerp Council,
what changes?
Here you go. Antwerp Council denies the rights of young people to participate in 4-H with small animals, saying the town might smell if they let a few chickens in here.
That was 100% true.
That is not true, and that is not what you brought this proposal. You never brought it as 4-H. You brought it as a 10-foot chicken pen in your backyard.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Steve said he reached out and it was other towns allow 4-H. That's where 4-H came in last month.
No, well, Michael Schweinsberg contacted him. He's the director of 4-H.
Yeah, I went to Paulding and talked to, I did not talk to the administrator, I talked to the lady in the office, I think it was physical officer, and I contacted the administrator in Hicksville, and they do have it, there's limitation on what you can do.
But you didn't say anything about 4-H. That wasn't part of your discussion. Steve brought 4-H up.
And so did Dean. And I didn't need to also, when they did it,
You didn't know we was going to.
He did know. If you watched the camera, he absolutely knew. Watch the videotape. He
Okay.
absolutely knew.
That we was gonna talk about 4-H.
Absolutely. Because as soon as it's asked if anybody in, he looks right at Steve because he knows that he talked to the 4-H guy.
yeah, because
So
Steve,
because
because we
I
all
reach out,
connived.
yeah, yep. It's
No,
fine, right?
I'm
The thing
sorry.
about it, no,
But here, yes, I would like for you guys to actually read what Paulding has and give me your thoughts on it.
This is important.
We don't live in Paulding.
Okay.
Paulding can do what they want.
There are so many good reasons. Could I invite Michael Schweinsberg in here to talk to us?
No.
Yeah, if you.
Okay.
Right, I know, but
He's
it's
gotta go
fine.
through whatever
he's-
visitor does, he has to be
If
on
he's
the
on
visitor
the
list to do
agenda,
that.
we will recognize him for 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh, 3
Yeah,
minutes?
3 minutes
It's
is
on the
what
bottom,
it is
it's on the
now.
bottom of the agenda.
Okay,
It's on there.
okay.
If he's on the agenda.
Because I
Otherwise,
would
we
like to
don't
see this done in
recognize
an
them.
orderly fashion.
Now, let's move on. That was new business. Is there any old
That was
business?
old business.
That was old business.
I
The
actually,
third
I
meeting,
actually
that was
have some
old
other old
business.
business.
Okay.
Because I talked to Ole, and he made a suggestion, and I'm not sure if this is a possibility. But last month, when we had ordinance 2022-16 about his lot, when we had to vote for it as an emergency, and everybody has problems with emergencies, and I understand that. We're trying to draw those back. So is there a way, since we know there's 8 more lots in there, that we can just make it pass something?
It'll change his real estate taxes.
That's-
We can
We've been through
definitely
this.
do
It was-
that, and we've
okay.
told him that many
Brian,
times,
it
but
was
as
his
soon,
idea.
yes.
Right, okay, and so if he
If
flips
he
back,
wants to
then
do
he'll have-
all of it and we finish out and make it a final
I
plat
met with
forever
him.
existing,
I met with him, I told him, I said, you wanna just,
Yeah.
get rid of
Brian,
the
he would
problem?
have
so that's
to
really
pay
up to
We,
him.
Each
we were
lot.
doing him a
Where right
favor.
now it's by acreage.
Okay, I'll let him know that.
So his
because
real
he was
estate
trying to
taxes
save us
will
time and
increase.
paperwork and the voting.
We've tried.
and-
We've
okay.
looked into everything for a few years to make it easier on him
Yeah.
and council. It
And we
just,
have it down to a science. I mean, we do.
Right,
It's
it's just another,
ordinance
it's
and
just another
emergency.
emergency vote, which is
Yeah.
an issue.
Yeah.
But it helps, I mean, it's
It
helping
help-
somebody
it
who's
help.
a developer in town who is selling those
Honestly,
subdivision
Brian, the
lots,
way
so.
we use emergency voting is not an issue. We do it because it's a necessity.
Right,
And
no, I
we
understand
have
that.
legal authority to do that. People get put off by the word emergency. I used to before I got on council. It used to make me very angry when I'd see it until I got here and realized what emergency actually means.
Right.
It means there's usually a deadline on time, and it's not that we're passing things where we're all stuffing our pockets full of money.
Right, no, and I've had that conversation with a few of the people that were interested about that, and so, then it's just, I think people don't understand it. because-
Exactly, and I've explained it to a lot of people too, but
Okay.
I try to, but some people just don't wanna understand.
Okay, well then I'll just let them know that's the case.
Yeah, and we worked with Ole, we've talked to him about it before,
And I think
about doing
Brian
it.
said he's just talked to him recently about it,
Okay.
so.
Yeah,
it's-
he stopped
it's-
in.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I think he was just trying to save us paperwork and time if it was a
We
possibility.
wish, it would be nice.
Yeah.
Right.
But his tax.
We only have to do it 7 more times, 7 more.
Say,
times.
ideally, he'll just sell the next 7 lots real soon.
One time,
and get more
yeah.
houses built in,
We'll see.
We only have to do it 8 more times.
We'll see.
but thank you.
Okay, any more old business? Okay, I have no mayor's report. Nobody wants to come to see me at court.
Really?
Right. So,
Make a motion to adjourn.
yes.
Hold on, let me find that sheet.
Wait,
It is 7 o'clock.
so your motion's good?
I think so.
I second it.
Well, there you go.
Second was Bryce. Dean Reister.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Ken Reinhardt.
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yes.